Hey guys, welcome back. When we left off, I was just finishing up the heat exchanger system for the blower. I still didn't get around to wiring the pump in, but primarily this video is going to consist of making a cold air intake. Now, I went over to intakehoses.com. This is where I built my previous intake. If you guys remember, it was the aluminum tubing, and I had my filter coming down to the battery tray. But I got something a little bit nicer this time. So all this stuff cost me $230 shipped to my door, which really isn't that bad considering if you go and buy like a K&N intake, it's going to cost you around that price anyway, and most of them aren't even a real cold air, it's just like a short ram. But I have a few goodies in this box. First, I got, it's all 4-inch stuff, same as what was on the car before. 4-inch does work with either the 102 or the 92 millimeter throttle body. But I got some new clamps, I got multiple elbows here. Now if you look on the car, with the old setup, the throttle body's coming straight out, so I just had like a 90 coming off of here. Now I'm going to be putting a 45, pretty much like what I have on here. This is the piece from the old intake. I was just trying to mock it up. But I'm going to have a 45 coming off of here, and then over here I'm going to have another 45 just coming through here, probably like that. So I'm going to have a short piece there, a 45 here, then I'm going to have a straight piece coming over, and then a 90 going down. And then I'll probably have a long piece of piping coming down here, and then the filter is going to be on the bottom side, so it's not sucking any hot air in from the engine bay. But what I actually picked up was something a little bit nicer than the aluminum I previously had. Now most of this stuff from their site, I don't know if they have polish or not, but the aluminum tubing I got last time doesn't come polished. It's just like straight up aluminum tubing. You would have to like sand it and buff it to really make it look nice. But I went with something a little bit nicer, which is actual carbon fiber tubing. Now this was a little more expensive than the aluminum stuff. This big piece here, I got a 2-foot piece. That cost me about 70 bucks, I believe. I think the shorter one was like 50, as opposed to like the aluminum. I think the big one is like 20 bucks for the aluminum for a 2-foot piece. But this is gonna just look a lot better aesthetically. It's a tiny bit lighter, if that really matters at this point. I mean, between the blower and the heat exchanger system, there's gonna be a lot more weight on the front of the car. But my plan is pretty simple. I think I'm gonna cut this with a chop saw. That's probably gonna be the neatest and cleanest way. My intake air temperature sensor doesn't have to be in here anymore, being it's on the blower. The only thing I am gonna have to do is drill a hole for the injector for the meth system, but I'm probably not going to get around to that till the next video. As I said, this one is pretty much going to just be making the intake, and then I'm going to go wire up the Bosch pump, but I'm really not going to show you guys too much about that, mostly because I talked about relays in the past. If you go check out my dual pusher fan video, I explained how the relay works there and how to wire it up. I also went through it on the AC video. I'll link those down below, just in case you're not familiar with how a relay works or how to wire them up. For the actual pusher fans, as you guys know, I had them set for when the AC comes on, gives power to the relay, and that turns the fans on. I'm just going to switch that side of the circuit. So I'm going to jump the constant 12 volts from the battery side of the relay, and then the ground that's teeing off of the PCM that turns on the regular fans. I'm just going to cut that ground away from the PCM splice piece and just run it inside the car to a switch. So pretty much I'll switch inside the car, the ground's going to ground the relay, and then these will come on whenever I want. Other thing I'm going to have to run is the wire for the pump, and as I mentioned a few videos ago, the ZL1s control the pump via the PCM that actually grounds the relay and turns the pump on. Same thing, I'm just going to run a switch. So I'm going to wire in a relay, run the ground inside the car to a switch, flick the switch, grounds the relay, and the pump's going to come on. Pretty straightforward stuff. Also, I did go and get my truck injectors installed. I believe I mentioned this last video. The pigtail adapters came in from eBay. So all this allows me to do is hook up my my EV1 harness to the Delphi truck connector, and this is all just temporary so I could safely run the car without washing the cylinders out, because I did have the 80 pounds in here, and if you noticed when I started it up last time, it was running really bad because it was just getting way too much fuel. But now that I have the 28-pound truck injectors in here, which the computer is currently tuned for 28-pound injectors, it's just going to run way better and safer and allow me to bring it to the tuner. And then once I'm actually there in the lot, I'm going to swap the 80s in, and then they can take it from there. But yeah, with these injectors, that does mean that it can run. After I did the injectors, I also went and changed the oil and put a fresh set of spark plugs in there. I went with NGK TR6s this time. Pretty much the TR6 is just a little bit colder and it's better for the supercharger. All right, so let's get started on this intake. Now, I decided I think I'm gonna use the silicone 45 coming off the throttle body just because it looks a little nicer than the rubber ones. First thing I'm gonna do is cut this down so it's pretty much like the size of this, and then we'll go and start cutting the carbon fiber. All right, so the first piece is cut. I used the chop saw. It just wasn't all the way through, so I had to flip it halfway to finish the cut. Same thing for the silicone tubing. The only thing is I used a razor blade to trim the rest off once the saw wasn't getting all the way through. But just a little quick mock-up here. I got the carbon fiber in. Everything fits pretty good. I'm happy with the clearance. You see, I got the pipe pretty much centered between the radiator and the meth tank here. For the air filter, I'm going to use this little leftover piece from when I cut that, and I'm just going to stick this in here. I'm going to cut this down, use that to couple these two together, and then I'll be able to put a I'll be able to connect a pipe on this side of the engine bay and then up to the 90. Also, I cut this with a circular saw, and don't cut it with your air filter on here. I popped this onto the silicone just to give me something to hold on to when I was cutting it, and it filled it up with a bunch of crap. I should have seen that coming. But I'll try to blow this out as best as I can. It's just little pieces, little fine pieces of a soft silicone, so it shouldn't really hurt anything. But right now, I'm gonna go cut down that silicone piece, get the filter secured and mounted in the tray here. Then we'll go and finish up cutting the carbon fiber and get everything connected. So everything's cut, pieces are dry fitted together. I just mocked it up with the old silicone 90 that I had just because it allowed for a little more play to angle it the way I wanted. Then I ended up putting the harder rubber piece in. But all said and done, I'm pretty happy with this. I was trying to keep it as symmetrical as possible, like as straight with the radiator and then kind of angle it this way. You can see it's relatively straight. It's relatively level going across. I already checked, hood close is great, plenty of room. No problem there. So right now I'm just going to pull everything apart, rinse the pipes out real good, blow out the air filter, then I'll put it back together, get our new clamps on, and then we should be good to start it up. Alright guys, so the intake is all finished and it looks absolutely amazing. Everything fits very nicely. I just pulled everything apart, cleaned out all the little shavings, flushed some stuff out with water, and then I just reassembled it with the new clamps and everything. I was also able to use, there's this little tiny hole kind of mounted on the side of the washer bottle tank. I just put a couple of zip ties in there just to stabilize this a little bit, make sure it doesn't come in contact with the alternator. But other than that, it's pretty much just sitting in there all on its own. It's sandwiched between the battery tray here, so there's going to be absolutely no movement here. The rubber on the top of the coupler and the rubber on the bottom of the filter is keeping that almost like a bushing nice and tight in place. Let's see from the front here. It doesn't stick up too high. There's plenty of room when the hood closes. Nothing's rubbing. But I think that is going to do it for this video. There's a storm coming in. I really don't feel like wiring up the pump for the heat exchanger today. I will get to it most likely in the next video, because the next one is going to be setting up the meth kit, and I do have to do some wiring with that, so I'll probably just do the pump while I'm at it, as well as wire the fans up. But one thing I will show you is how I plan on controlling that, and that is with this little guy here. I got this thing off eBay. I believe it was maybe 60 bucks. The guy custom makes it for you. Pretty much tell him which buttons you want and when you want them to say. I put a momentary push button here on the left because I do eventually plan on putting a two-step, so I figure I'll be able to just kind of hold it like this and then get off and jump right onto the shifter. Park is for my front parking camera. I'm going to get rid of the switch here and integrate it into this. Fans are going to be for the pushers on the heat exchanger, and the pump is going to be for the blower pump. And this just sits in here nice and neat, all tucked away. So yeah, great solution if you need a switch panel for your third gen. I'm going to link this in the description. I'm also going to put the site where I got all the hoses for the intake in case you want to go and make the same piece I did. My last intake was made the same way. I just used the 90 and the aluminum piping. But before I do close this video out, I do want to start this up one more time, and we'll see how it sounds with the new intake. Pretty good. In case anybody was wondering, that kind of whistling noise, I did some research on LS1 Tech. What I was told is that it's the air being pulled through the IAC, so it's kind of resonated through the intake, making that whistling noise. At first I thought it was the bearings in the snout, but once I moved the intake, you can tell there's pretty much no noise coming from the actual blower. It's just the air coming through the intake, and when you turn it off, you kind of hear the whistle right after the engine stops. Once it's fully warmed up, that noise pretty much goes away. But yeah, the car's running great. Still has to be tuned, obviously, but I am very happy that the truck injectors are letting me kind of run it and make sure there are no leaks, anything like that. Keep on the lookout for my next video. We're going to be setting up the meth, as well as finally getting the fans and the heat exchanger wired in. And then after that, that's pretty much it. I might just take it for a ride around the block. If I can kind of granny shift it, I might actually drive it to the tuner and save some money on the trailer. It does run fine. I do have the injectors that are tuned for the computer in there right now. I just have to really keep my foot out of it and be careful, because I do not want to make any boost while I'm driving it that way. But I'll see how it drives. If there's no stalling issues, if it has enough power at a very low RPM to allow me to drive it, then I might just do that. If not, I'll probably just go and get the trailer. But link to my Instagram is going to be down below, as well as all the links to the parts I used today. And of course, as always, if you enjoyed this video, please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.